I can't fault my son's mum for the way she brings up my son. She's an excellent mum, and so I'm lucky in that respect. We like any sort of couple, you do have your arguments, but when it comes to Jay, everything's cool. We sit down and talk about everything. You'll almost say that we're still together because I'm always informed. I know everything that's happening all the time. So, well, I'm thinking of doing this. What do you think? I'm thinking of doing that. What do you think? So, I'm very lucky. Not everybody might be in that same situation. It might be different, and so I can't complain. And he's lucky.
It's weird because the stereotypes or the kind of perception of black men is that they have kids and they run off and they don't mind their children, they don't look after. No, that's the kind of general stereotypes that are out there when people are kind of talking about men, how whatless they are and stuff like that.
Yeah, but some guys do. Some guys do. But then some guys, I'm not going to say, I can't say I blame them, but some guys have good reason, because what people always fail to realise is how the situation of how this child became, because alright, it takes two to tango, as they say, fair enough. But then if a guy is in a relationship with a girl and she got pregnant by mistake, and then she said, what do you want to do? And he said, well, I'm not ready because I've got X, Y, and Z happening. And she decided she wanted to have a child, and the famous line of, I will do it by myself, come into play, and then the child born, and then you realise it's not easy.
Often a woman would say, well, I'm having it. And, the same way when a woman's in the position, if she's pregnant and she's not ready, she won't have it. She'll go and have an abortion or whatever else. She won't have it. But with a man, he often doesn't get a choice. I'm pregnant. I'm having it. You have to be a father. And often a man's not ready. There's guys who ain't ready to be that. They're just not mentally up there enough to be that. So if they're saying from one, listen, I can't do this, then I'd say to the woman, you'd have to respect where the man's coming from. And if you're going to go forward and have your kid, make sure you're doing it on your own. Don't have the kid and then start calling and bugging the guy and then telling, and I need this and I need that, because the guy has been honest enough to tell you, I can't do it. Now, if an individual tells you they can't do something, then you shouldn't force them to do it.
If we've all been in a situation where a girl has turned around to me and said that she wants to have a kid, I'll turn around to her, and I don't think she's the one, and I haven't met the one yet. And I turn around and say, I don't believe you're the one. I will look after the kid, but me and you have nothing to do with each other, because I don't want the kid.
I don't want everybody to think that guys are about not having children. There are some guys who do want to have kids, and a woman, the same thing. No, I'm not having it. Guy has no. This is the underlying problem here, or the key point is, guys have no say either way, whether a woman's having a child or she's not. So as much as it's two of you that got to that situation, it then becomes women become selfish. It's all about me. I'm carrying this baby, or I'm not carrying this baby. It's all about me. The guy just sitting there on the fence and like, okay, whatever he says is not going to make any difference, because if she's going to have a baby, she's going to have it. And if she doesn't want to have the baby, no matter if he cries or whatever, she's not going to have it. And the guys, and this is the problem. Guys always get the wrong end of the stick.
But there's a choice when you lay down with a woman to kind of protect yourself.
But as you know, with contraception, it's not 100%. So if we look, right, all things being equal, and we look at these situations where it isn't a woman's fault or the guy's fault, she is on the pill, the pill didn't work, people get pregnant on the pill, then what do? We're now talking about a situation where they've both been sensible about it, the woman has now got pregnant, she is then making a choice which is going to affect the guy's life, her life, and this kid that they may or may not have. What I'm saying now is, shouldn't it be a joint decision? It's never a joint decision.
But obviously, it's somewhere at some point someone has to make that decision.
Right. Sure. So this is what I mean. It's not a joint decision. So at the end of the day, it's the woman's decision. So whether the guy wants it or not, he's like, oh, I didn't want the baby, but I'm happy. Yeah, let's do this. Nope, I'm going to what I want. He's there. He's devastated, and vice versa. No, I don't want the baby. She said, yes, you're having a baby.
But the fact that the child is kind of part of you, doesn't that kind of, in a sense, give you a kind of moral responsibility to be there and support the child? And I'm not obviously not talking on a personal level.
Yeah, fair enough, but this is what I'm saying. So what does the guy who does, when the woman gets pregnant, wants her to have the baby and she doesn't have the baby, what then? So what do you say to that?
You get the thing, if you can lie down with her and sleep with her, then he's man enough that it's worlds apart. Two individuals meeting each other and having sex and maybe the condom busting or whatever does not mean that you want to be a father to this woman and bring up someone for about 16, 20 years of it's completely different, So sometimes I would say when you do get into that situation, just embarking on what Alex said again, you know, it should be a joint decision. And if you're not getting the support you need from the man to make such a big decision, you have to know as a woman, if you make that decision on your own, that you have to do it on your own. You do it. That's why I respect them strong women. Say, all right, you know what? You're not in the picture. You're going to just move because you're not representing. I'm going to do it on my own, like my mum did with me and my brother. You get me? Props. But the women who try and kind of, I'll say it on camera, try and trap man to get into their kind of situation. Oh, he's got this and he's got that. He'd be good. He'd be an all right dad. I'm going to have a youth for you. You can't do that to men. You got to stop that shit.
I know situations for myself, my friends, where girls have said they've known the pill and they're not, trying to get pregnant. I know girls who walk around with condom packets actually where they've looked a hole in the condom already so they can get pregnant. And this is what goes down. And for whatever reason, whether it's because they think the guy has got money or whether they think the guy is going to, genetically, he's going to make their baby look good, whatever good is. Whatever the reason, I know girls, I'm not saying all girls, it's probably a tiny majority, minority.
How popular is this, or how?
Those are extreme cases. But, you know, I do also know there's a lot of girls out there when you're with girls and they put on, I call it covert, subtle pressure, you know, to have sex without protection and blah, 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 and they start talking about the future. And they hope that, you know, the lust is going to take over and they get pregnant. And everyone, and we know what we're talking about.
That's right. It's very easy for a woman to get a man to sleep with them without protection. If you're going to be totally honest about it, I mean, you obviously meet someone you don't know, you're going to obviously use your protection. Once you're into that relationship, you know, how many men, if I could ask this question, a woman wake up in the morning, you've been with a woman 3, 4, 5 months now, and she wakes up in the morning, you've got no contact, and she just climbs onto you. How many is going to say, no, stop? Right.
But isn't that what you should be doing, though? No, in all honesty, isn't that what you should be doing? In protecting, so that you don't have to go through those dilemmas.
Should be, but I'm talking realistic. We should all be jogging and eating carbohydrate and getting our, we should, but I'm being real about it. It borders on almost impossible. You know, the woman knows she has power and control in that arena.
I would personally get married at some point, but not everybody has to, and I don't think they have to. You can still have that commitment. There are people who've been together 10, 15 years, haven't been married, but they've got kids, everything, but they're not married.
When my brother got married, I watched it, and what I like about it is, it's the feeling that you're committing yourself to someone and you love that person loves you, and that's your team, set. And you're building your team from there, and it's all about you guys. When I get that feeling, I'm going to do it, and I'd love to do it. I think it's something that I think it would be nice if every individual could feel the same way that the feelings that I have for marriage. I think it's really nice. It's just finding the woman that makes you feel that way. That's my kind of problem. And I suppose maybe it's a distant fear that I might never find that kind of woman that evokes that kind of feeling, because it's a serious feeling. I ain't one of these brothers that say like, all right then, we're going to get married, like some people I see them get married, but I'm still coming out with you man, you know, I'm going to check some girl and... No, when I marry, all I should be able to see is that woman, and I'm supposed to love her, you know, completely, you know, 100% unconditionally, and that's the frame of mind I want to be in when I get into it.
Is that a realistic goal then?
I think if you're not that way, then you shouldn't get married.